Trump admits Nibiru is real, signs executive orders. During his historic inaugural address to the American people, President Donald J. Trump hinted at Nibiru's reality, giving a sly but affirmative wink to millions of people who have eschewed mainstream science and embraced the Nibiru truths. While speaking about the future of American prosperity, President Trump slipped in the comment, "We will unlock the mysteries of space," a poignant remark that served as a rallying cry for Nibiru believers across the world. President Trump stopped short of full disclosure for obvious reasons. The eyes of the world were upon him. Our Washington source added his thoughts. "It's obvious Trump is deeply worried about Nibiru," our source said. Since Obama burned the Nibiru dossiers, Trump knows he is facing an uphill battle. He said what he could. His comment about unlocking space mysteries was a direct reference to the Nibiru cover-up. He had to say something, he couldn't say nothing. Friends and enemies lurked all around. If he said nothing at all, Nibiru believers would have felt disenfranchised. If he said too much, his enemies would have sprung from the shadows. He struck the right balance. Across the country, Nibiru believers rejoiced. Reginald Klopscott, a former merchant marine who operates a Nibiru survival camp in Missouri, said Trump's remark was a wake-up call to all Nibiru debunkers. Recruitment, he says, skyrocketed following Trump's inaugural address. "You ain't gonna believe it," Klopscott said. "After Trump talked, we got 2 new members. We getting ready for that Nibiru. I read somewhere it's made of hardened tritium, so we are fortifying our bunkers. I know that President Trump will soon tell us everything." In Washington, President Trump had a hectic day. He was sworn in, attended a lengthy parade, joined his wife at 2 inaugural balls, and, late in the evening, took his first steps into the Oval Office. He got right to work, signing several executive orders. 2 gutted parts of Obamacare. Our White House source confirmed that President Trump signed at least 2 additional executive orders, one of which dealt with terminating the Nibiru cover-up. With a stroke of his pen, President Trump nullified 30 years of Nibiru secrecy. The executive order rescinded Ronald Reagan's Nibiru Secrecy Act of 1983, an obsolete regulation imposing stiff penalties, 50 years imprisonment and unspecified fines, on Nibiru whistleblowers. That order was controversial, our Washington source said. Reagan went overboard. After NASA's IRAS detected Nibiru in 1983, Reagan signed the executive order. It forbade any public servant, scientist, or person with true and accurate information about Nibiru from ever mentioning the word Nibiru. Reagan even had the word Nibiru removed from dictionaries. Check for yourself, you won't find the word Nibiru in any dictionary, anywhere. Our source was correct, neither Webster's nor the Oxford English Dictionary mentions the word Nibiru. Oval Office chatter suggests Trump is pacing himself. He does not want to steamroll into anything that might backfire and provide the opposition with ammunition to use against him. Regardless, Trump has stepped into a larger universe, and his day-one actions clearly illustrate a steadfast resolve seldom seen in fledgling presidents.
Putin warns Trump, "Tell the world about Nibiru, or I will." On July 22, 2016, Donald J. Trump and Russian President Vladimir Putin, after a breakthrough telephone conversation and a clandestine meeting at the Kremlin, vowed to reveal the Nibiru reality and its cover-up. The 2 world leaders signed a memorandum of understanding. In exchange for Putin's silence, Trump swore to expose the Nibiru cover-up as one of his earliest presidential acts, if elected. Less than a week after the billionaire's miraculous victory over Hillary Clinton, our Kremlin source said that Putin is on edge, fidgety, and gravely concerned that Trump will not fulfill his promise. Tuesday night, our source said, a Russian diplomat hand-delivered a letter to President-elect Trump at his Trump Tower penthouse apartment. That letter, handwritten by Vladimir Putin, contained only a single sentence, "Tell the world about Nibiru, or I will." Putin made this agreement with Trump based on mutual respect, our source said. In many ways, Putin sees Trump as a kindred spirit. He was absolutely convinced that Trump would break with Washington policy and warn the world about the forthcoming Nibiru cataclysm. Even though Trump has not yet moved into the White House, Putin's beginning to question Trump's resolve. This change in posture sharply contrasts with Putin's attitude on election night. Following Trump's historic victory, a jubilant Putin to Vladimir Putin used the Kremlin teletype, located in the basement of Russia's most fortified structure, to send Trump a congratulatory letter. He showered Trump with lavish praise, even referring to Trump as his American brother and comrade in arms. But recent developments in American politics seem to have provoked anxiety in the Russian president. Though Trump has been president-elect for just over 1 week, Putin has noticed changes in his behavior and his policies. This very much concerns President Putin. He put all his faith in Trump. Putin thought Trump was a strong, stoic man, but already sees him softening, said our Moscow source. Putin's concerns are apparently linked to Trump waffling on important issues like immigration reform and, more importantly, appearing to back from his promise to incarcerate Hillary Clinton. During the second presidential debate, Trump loomed over Hillary like a shadow, promising to hire a special prosecutor to investigate her crimes and misdemeanors against the American people. On Sunday night, however, Trump backpedaled, telling CBS's 60 Minutes host Leslie Stahl, "These are great, great people. Really great. I don't want to hurt Nibiru these people." We can quote our Kremlin source verbatim: "If President-elect Trump is so squishy he already caves in on his promise to jail nasty Hillary Clinton, a woman who has caused Russia many problems, then how can Putin trust him to disclose Nibiru? If this Hillary Clinton lady lived in Russia, we would send her to Gulag." He also tries to wiggle out of throwing Mexicans out of your country. First, he says he'll throw them all out and build a magnificent wall. Now he says he'll only toss out 2 or 3 million and put a little fence up. How is President Putin supposed to justify this? Nibiru is humankind's greatest threat. It caused the 5 great extinctions, including the dinosaurs. It sunk Atlantis, and now it may be trying to kill us. If Trump is so weak he has already broken pledges to his supporters, how can Putin count on him to reveal Nibiru? Trump must announce Nibiru. According to unimpeachable sources including Russian Ambassador Vitaly Churkin, Putin will give Trump 30 days starting on 20 January address the forthcoming Nibiru apocalypse. Failure, Putin said, is not an option. Any additional postponement would be considered a blatant act of bad faith against the Soviet Union and its people, compelling the Russian president to warn the world about Nibiru himself. Putin warns Trump, "Tell the world about Nibiru."
This is Informer News, your voice of the people. Welcome along, my friends, to another edition of the Informer News monthly special report. Coming up in this month's broadcast, Putin warns Obama, "Tell the world about Nibiru or I will." Plus, warnings, all US military bases have gone on alert. Also, the West war games with Russia could lead to World War III. Plus, alert, NASA verification, Planet X Nibiru is coming towards Earth. And Russian pilot films Nibiru. Okay, into this month's Informer News special report. This first report originates from theprepperdome.com, titled "Putin warns Obama, tell the world about Nibiru or I will." Yesterday, Russian President Vladimir Putin issued a shocking ultimatum to Barack Hussein Obama. In a private telephone conversation, the Russian president reprimanded his American counterparts for furthering the Nibiru cover-up and demanded the American president come clean, and warned the world about Nibiru's impending arrival and publicly detail the disastrous consequences the rogue system will wreak upon planet Earth. 2 weeks ago, we reported that former KGB officer Strelnikov Isaac Stefanovich reveal that American leaders use the threat of nuclear war to silence Russian leaders from alerting the world to Nibiru's threat. Putin's announcement not only corroborates that information, but also confirms that the Kremlin is definitely withdrawing from the 30-plus year cover-up and is willing to dismantle the conspiracy despite Washington's threat to nuke Moscow. According to our confidential source, who obtained the leaked information from a British intelligence agent, the conversation between Putin and Obama lasted only 7 minutes and left President Obama looking agitated, upset and irritated at Putin's demands. For decades, Russian leaders have anxiously sought to blow the whistle about the brown dwarf star and its orbiting planets, but a watchful and malicious White House repeatedly threatened a nuclear reprisal if Russian leaders or scientists went public with credible information on Nibiru's threat to our world. Now it seems Putin has received information allowing him to abrogate Western intimidation. Our Moscow source reports that Putin discovered that America had been bluffing about its willingness to start an atomic war over Nibiru. That bluff worked well against Gorbachev, Yeltsin and Medvedev. However, the bluff collapsed when Kremlin security specialists intercepted and deciphered a confidential email from President Obama to Hillary Clinton, siphoned from her private, controversial email server. "We've fooled them this far," Obama wrote. "They actually believe we will risk destroying our country. Whoever thought a bluff would work this well? I should play poker professionally." On discovering the content of the email, an enraged Vladimir Putin immediately phoned the White House and demanded to speak to Obama, who at the time was in a golfing match. With David Cameron with tensions high, the United States Secret Service and National Security Advisor Susan Rice alerted Obama to the situation, and Marine One, the president's helicopter, whisked him to the White House under increased security. Our source confirms that Obama was visibly shaken during the conversation. A verified excerpt of the private conversation cites Putin's most shocking remarks. "We shall no longer cower in the face of false American threats. You have impeded the truth for far too long. You and your predecessors are adversaries of truth and of potentially saving lives. Since your voice has farther reach and carries great impact, I give you one chance to tell the world about Nibiru. If you don't, I will." Survive. Western whistleblowers like Paul Cox, Eugene Ricks and Dr. Ronald Shemchuk have recently risen from the shadows, breaking silence at a risk to their own safety. Russian physicist and astronomer Danimin Zakharich recently appeared on German television to talk about Nibiru. His research supports the contentions of his Western counterparts. It appears that his bravery is at least partly responsible for Putin's thunderous stance against Western intimidation. Recent developments prove one certainty: Nibiru is here, and colluding governments are now powerless to maintain the veil of secrecy they've so desperately fought to preserve over the last 30 years. To view the full transcript, go to my website endtimes23.com, where I've posted the link. There's a live link to my website near the end of this video. This next report was posted by tradcatknight.blogspot.co.uk by William Mount and this was posted on August the 3rd, 2016, titled, "Warning, all US military bases have gone on alert." It's all unwinding. US military bases on full alert. It all seems to be unwinding. Sorry about the dry story, but we are on the verge of Turkey acquiring 266 nukes right under the nose of Putin and Medvedev and Erdogan, Turkey president, declaring himself the chief Muslim caliph and going to war. To the most active, most intelligent and one of the largest audiences in the world, we really need your focused prayer at this critical moment. German tanks are headed into Poland in preparation for Operation Pincer, the invasion of Russia, to begin in mid-August. Pray the war plans are cancelled. Incirlik, US Air Force Base, which contains 266 nuclear weapons, is surrounded by 20,000 protesting Muslims, and the base is only protected by 150 US soldiers under the order of Obama. The rest of the 1,475 troops are not allowed to carry pistols or rifles. They can detonate a hydrogen bomb, but are not allowed to protect the nukes. That is around 1,325 airmen Obama will not allow to carry weapons. It is so critical there right now that General Dunford, head of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, flew there last night to see what is going on. That little girly boy coward General Dunford is only concerned about getting the opium line open to Europe. The White House has gone insane. Caddy-wumpus nutcases. Pray that they are either changed or removed immediately. The collapse of the Italian bank has begun as UniCredit Bank has had their stock sales suspended. Cash is king. China begins inserting their SDR into the IMF today as the US dollar begins to fade as the world currency. Finally, a 6.1 earthquake off India just occurred, and it may be related to a coronal mass ejection from the sun. Just pray. Get ready. Hang on, because it could be a rough ride. All references are available on the net, except for the situation in Incirlik, US Air Force Base, that you find out by calling their media folks on the base. A voice of the people statement. Now President Putin of Russia has warned Barack Obama to tell the world about Nibiru, or I will. The response from the White House was firm and strong, ordering all Western powers to prepare for war. NATO war games escalate, with Russia embarking on the largest movements of foreign allied troops in Poland since World War II, involving 31,000 soldiers, thousands of vehicles and assorted aircraft. It was also the first time since 1941 German tanks had crossed Polish borders. This Western threat was the response to President Putin's warning to Obama, "Come clean on Nibiru or I will." The Western leaders and their military machine will do anything to keep the truth from the people. That Nibiru is real and will trigger the end of this civilization. The voice of the people. This following report was posted on spikedonline.com, titled "The West War Games with Russia." NATO escalation of the conflict with Russia is rich in grisly irony. At the beginning of June, EU member states and NATO, these supposed forces of global order and stability, embarked on the largest movements of foreign allied troops in Poland since the Second World War. Described as a 10-day military training exercise involving 31,000 soldiers, thousands of vehicles and assorted aircraft. It was also the first time since 1941 that German tanks had crossed the Polish border. This apparently is what's promoting peace and stability looked like. At this weekend, following a two-day summit in Warsaw, NATO and its partners upped the ante further, citing Russia's aggressive actions in Ukraine, including provocative military activities in the periphery of NATO territory, and asserting in euphemistically expansionist language the need to project stability. They agreed to deploy 4 battalions numbering nearly 4,000 troops in Poland, Lithuania, Latvia, Estonia, and is right along Russia's western borders. All of this follows America's construction of a missile defense system in Romania, with a further one planned in Poland. Of course, we know why the US and its European NATO allies think they're justified in determinedly rattling their high-tech rifles on Russian borders. They would like to believe Putin's Russia is a clear and present danger. They would like to believe at some level that he is, as one commentator called him, a hypo-nationalist conspiratorial madman, a man who dreams of Russia's imperial restoration. They never put it in those terms, of course. They talk ostensibly of defense, of protecting NATO members and allies, or as Stoltenberg put it, an attack on one ally being considered an attack on the whole alliance. But lurking in the NATOese is this same desperately anti-Russian prejudice, the same conviction that Russia, with Putin at the helm, poses a significant threat to the EU and the West in general. Putin is seemingly the Hitler of our times, and Russia the Fourth Reich, a voice of the people insert. Western propaganda at its best. The threats are coming quick and fast. The West will even go to war to protect the Nibiru secret. As if the truth did get out, the elites' game would be up and their survival plans would be in shatters. The voice of the people. This next report originates from beforeitsnews.com, titled Alert, NASA Verification, Planet Nibiru is coming towards Earth. Nibiru will be a life-ending event. Posted on June 16, 2016. What the heck is Planet X, Planet 9, also known as Planet 7X or Nibiru, and what does it suggest for us on Earth? Is there a biblical link, and does it play a role in the end times? There is proof of an outgoing resurgence of the Planet X, also known as Nibiru, catalysm conspiracy theory. Subsequently, the publication of new scientific studies in 2014 proclaiming proof of a mysterious unnamed planet lurking beyond Pluto. The scientific statements were influenced by observations of gravitational influences on a group of space bodies known as the Extreme Trans-Neptunian Objects, ETNOs, orbiting our Sun further than the planet Neptune. A multitude of messages and YouTube videos presently being distributed in the conspiracy theory blogosphere states that NASA's study published in 1988 exposed facts about the mysterious Planet X Nibiru with an estimated orbital period of more than 1,000 years. The research based on conspiracy theories shows that NASA and the US government have been knowledgeable for decades that the rogue Planet X is coming with catastrophic repercussions for humanity. Based on conspiracy theorists fairly recently leaked out secret NASA Planet X files expose that the agency is knowledgeable that the gravitational influence of Planet X had upset the orbits of other planets during a previous passage into the inner solar system hundreds of years ago, and that the next troublesome passage into the inner solar system is certain. The approach of the mysterious Planet X is presently sending waves of charged plasmatic energy particles through our solar system. the flow of energy will ultimately disturb the core flow of the Earth and result in catastrophic changes in Earth's climate. Based on 4 major biblical prophets, something truly frightening is coming our way, and it will hit homeland before the 1st of January 2017. We have been experiencing the disruptive effect of the inbound rogue Planet X since 1996 in the form of increased seismic and volcanic activity, freak weather behavior, and natural disasters. NASA, the Pentagon, and the CIA are all knowledgeable of the approaching rogue planet. The Vatican has also been briefed, but the public is being obviously misinformed about the approaching apocalypse. But despite the attempts to keep the facts secret, there have been leaks. The comprehensive report put forward to the White House guesses that about 2/3 of humanity will be wiped out when Planet X induces a pole shift. 2/3 of survivors will die over another 6 months as a result of starvation and exposure to the elements. To view the full transcript, go to my website, endtimes23.com, where I've posted the link. There's a live link to my website near the end of this video. This final report originates from clapway.com, titled Russian Pilot Films Planet X, by Anthony Cerullo, and posted on May the 31st, 2016. The trusty Russian dashcam continues to deliver amazing footage from space. Years ago, we thanked dashcam footage for giving the world a unique view on the meteor that struck the country and caused substantial damage. Now a jet fighter dashcam has apparently stumbled upon Planet X. Planet Nibiru, better known as Planet X, has been found by a Russian jet fighter while doing a routine flyover. The dashcam video shows a standard flying formation when suddenly a circular red orb appears next to the sun. Halfway through the video, the red orb slowly comes next to our star, which many believe to be the mysterious Planet X. Others believe this is a mere incident of lens flare. However, that is an excuse all too popular with governments these days. Okay, my friends, you're all invited to join this channel by subscribing to endtimes23, which is a totally free subscription service. You're also invited to add me as a friend on Facebook and follow me on Twitter and join my Google Plus timeline. All this month's news links can be found on my website, endtimes23.com. There's a live link near the end of this video. Well, my friends, as I announced in August, this will be my last video I will be putting out on YouTube. I would again like to thank you all for your support you have given me over the past few years, and hope my news channel has given you all the real news of events happening right now on and off our planet that the elite are keeping from you. I'd like to wish you all the best in the future. The voice of the people, signing out. See you on the flip side.